Hi! As promised, I'm gonna go over some things today with you guys and drop in regarding some final matters with the end of this course. This is, as you guys know, the last week, and so we have some things due. Last night, and some of you guys may have seen this pop up in your TJC email through Apache Access, not through Canvas. But last night I went and I emailed each of you independently, and what I did there was I attached draft 1 research paper, the one where you guys were unfortunately not able to read any of my annotations or any of my feedback or commentary. I touched base about that with you guys in my last video, and I do apologize for that inconvenience. However, looking at the little bit of feedback I gave you on that essay in combination with all of your assignments you've submitted will help you do well on the final essay. It's so important that you're reading my feedback, reading my commentary, and again, I know I've said that before, but I'll say it again. If you're not making the same mistakes in your final essay that you have been for any other essays, then you are going to do fine. As long as it's, reflective of college level writing and thinking, you will do fine. So I want you to go and check your email outside of Canvas, your TJC email that you access through Apache Access. The only reason why I did it that way is that sometimes Canvas, and I know that they just launched a new interface for Apache Access and all of that, but and so that was also one reason why I did it through that portal. But sometimes attachments through the Canvas email do not work, and so I wanted to make sure you were able to get that attachment. So I went and I emailed all of you guys. I'm sorry, my computer's a little wobbly today. But I went and I emailed each of you guys independently with your own personal essay attached. So open that up and look at it. It's a PDF file, and all you have to do is hover your mouse around the little red bullets that you see, and you'll find my commentary will pop up. And so I want you to look at that. When it comes to your final essay, which is what we have due tomorrow morning, I think I'm pretty sure it's in the morning. That's when most of your deadlines are. But one thing I want to make sure that you are doing is that you're thinking about this as kind of showing off your skills. What did you learn this semester when it comes to thesis statements, organization, focus, literature? How do we connect the ideas we find in literature to our own lives, to the world beyond academia? And so as long as you're making those connections and looking at this final essay like what it is, a final exam, then you'll do well on this. I've had a few people ask me, well, how do I organize an essay like this? Well, you're asked to look at 2 short stories, 1 poem, and the play, right? And to find a common theme within those things. So you get to choose your short stories, you get to choose your play. I'm sorry, the poem. The play is Trifles, and that's what we all read. So you have to make sure you do that one. But what are some common themes, or one common theme you find within 4 works? Okay, so based off of that, I would organize my essay in such a way that each body paragraph would focus on one primary source. So in my introduction, I would talk about the theme that I've chosen to elaborate on the theme and all of the primary sources. I would introduce all of those primary sources. I would come up with a nice, pretty, succinct thesis statement as the dead last sentence of that introduction. And do note too that normally I ask you to mention the short story title and the author's name in the thesis statement, but since we're talking about so many, you don't need to do that in your thesis statement. I want to make sure they're introduced somewhere in the introduction, but in your thesis statement you're just going to identify a common theme and make sure that theme stands out to me in the thesis statement. But then I would focus each body paragraph on each source. So if I wanted to talk about, for example, where are you going, where have you been, as one of my short stories. Let's see, the lottery as another one. When I heard the learned astronomer, maybe that's my poem I chose. And then trifles. So those are my 4 sources. Paragraph 1 would be over where are you going, where have you been, talking about how the theme I discussed in my introduction was brought to light there. And of course, I'd always need in-text citations, examples from the source to back up my claim. Paragraph 3 would be over the lottery, and I would do the same exact thing. I would talk about how the theme introduced in my introduction, or talked about in my introduction, was elaborated in that short story using source examples, and of course, as always, in-text citations. The third or the fourth paragraph would be, when I heard the learned astronomer, that poem, and then of course I would do the same thing, talk about how that theme was fleshed out, and I would use primary source examples and text citations. Then my second to last paragraph, because I will need a conclusion, would be over trifles and how that theme was, brought to the surface through the literary techniques that author used. So that would kind of be how I might organize it, and then of course I would have my conclusion. So that would be 6 body paragraphs total, an introduction, 1 body paragraph per source, and then a conclusion. That's not in any way a requirement for you to follow that structure. It's just an idea as to how you might if you wanted to, if you're a little bit stuck on how to organize this essay, you could do it that way. But you can do, as long as it's logical, as long as it's organized, as long as it's focused, you can organize it however you want to. But keep in mind, all academic essays have to be at least 5 paragraphs. So that's 1 introduction, 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. And so you do need to keep that in mind. Don't forget that in-text citations and a works cited page are an absolute requirement for this, as they have been all semester. Failure to include one or both will result in partial credit for this assignment. So you want to make sure that you are doing that. I want to make sure you're proofreading, that you're reading the commentary and all the things leading up to this. And if you've already submitted the final essay, I challenge you, I urge you guys to open it and look at it again, because writing, and this is probably the most frustrating thing about writing and writing classes, but it's never done. I look at stuff I wrote in grad school and I am like, dang, I need to revise that. I need to make that better. And that's just the way it is, right? It's never perfect, and it can always get better and be better. And so that's going to take fresh eyes. And so I do challenge you guys to do those things. Your final test is, I think that comes after the final. You guys have these deadlines a little bit more at your fingertips than I do. I don't have the Canvas shell pulled up right now, but that comes after the final essay. That grades itself. Again, that's over terminology, drama, and poetry. So go ahead and make sure you know those things. These are the last 2 things for the class. Last 2 things we've got. So do well, right? I am going to grade those final essays. They'll be graded no later than Thursday the 10th. And then your final grades will be entered into Apache Access on Friday the 11th. So I want to make sure class is all wrapped up at that point in time. Man, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I do make a really big thing about that, right? You guys have my cell phone number. I was in contact with a lot of you guys on vacation. Although it wasn't, it was vacation, but I have to take my work with me because I am teaching online. So I do owe you guys that. But you have my cell phone number and you have my email, and I am 100% willing to work with all of you guys as long as it's reasonable, and you're not making some crazy request. But good luck, and it's been a lot of fun having you guys this semester. I have enjoyed all that you've written and your insights, and you guys were a good crew. This will be the last time I drop in for a video, and so have fun. Happy writing.